Hey, it's Dr. Carl Kopp here, and I want to talk to you about three really simple, easy things you can do with CenarioVR. It's by ELB Learning, formerly the e-learning brothers, and it's a really simple 360 video type of tool that you can use to create 360 videos for your goggles or even for your desktop. So let's take a look. All right, before we get started, let's start with the end in mind. So let's say that you're VR for a rental house and you have a welcome message, so that's really good, but you want to make it more interactive than just looking around, although you have the ability to look all around in the area. And so we've got the message, welcome, find Bigfoot lurking in the house. Okay, well, question mark, that seems to make sense. Oh, and here's a question. What direction does the sun rise? Well, I think it rises in the west, of course. Oh, it's the east as it does everywhere else. Okay, so we've added a question. And I'm looking around and I see this, and I'm going to click on that, and it just reveals a banana. Let me look somewhere else for the Bigfoot. I'll click this arrow. It takes me out to another scene. This scene is a porch. I need to get back inside. There I am, back inside. And here I am. Find a Bigfoot. Let me look. Oh, there's a Bigfoot up there. I'll click on it, and there's the image. So this is what we're trying to achieve. And when we look at that, we can find that achievement through this type of map. So the first thing you want to do if you're doing any kind of VR is create a map. It can be paper-based. I used PowerPoint here. Here was scene 1, the main room. Here's scene 2, the porch. I'm going to have some arrows going back and forth, my welcome message, my question. Then I'm going to have an info card for the right answer and an info card for the wrong answer, which we saw, and then the hidden hotspot for Bigfoot. So my first recommendation is to go ahead and map out what you want to do. My second recommendation is that you need 360 video. Your panoramic picture doesn't work because 360 wraps the image around basically a sphere. So we have three choices for creating 360 video. If you've got some money, you can buy a 360 video camera. The cheapest one I found was for $81 on Amazon, and you can grab that. But the other one here is $399. I've seen $500, $1,000. So it's very expensive to do this. But if you're in a corporation, you're doing high fidelity training, you probably want to get a 3D camera, and you probably want to get a good one. They're really easy to use. You basically set them up in the room, you leave, boom, it takes the picture. Now, let's say that you don't want to invest $81 or $300 or whatever in a camera. You can use tools and your own phone. So I've used my ISO phone, my Apple phone, and I used an app called 360 Photo Cam, just downloaded it, it's free. The really nice thing I like about this is you stand in one spot and it lines up this circle with a square, and you know exactly where to take the picture. It literally walks you through the process, picture, 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 picture. It's fantastic. At the end, you get your whole 360 video. See how it's kind of fisheye? And you just download that, and then you've got your video that you can work with. Now, if you have Android, which I don't have, you could use the most popular 360 app, which is Google Street View. So you could just go to your phone, you can download that. It'll walk you through taking a 360 image. It's meant to be uploaded to Google Maps, but you don't have to. You could upload it anywhere, or you could even use Panorama 360 for creating tours as well. So you've got those options. Now the third option, which is really cool, is that CenarioVR, again by ELB, actually has in it an AI wizard. So you can actually create your own AI scene, 3D scene. So you could use CenarioVR. Now it's AI, right? So these cars look a little strange, but I have an entire scene where I can utilize this if I wanted to in my AR. I might want to take this maybe into Photoshop and recalibrate some of those cars or add better looking cars. But it does give me the ability then to create this entire 3D environment just using AI, which is kind of interesting. So those are our options for AI. And then finally, Once we've done that, we're going to jump into Scenario VR and we're going to create our quick little interactive scenario. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the plus. This is the Scenario VR screen. We're going to click on the plus to create a scenario. And now it asks me to create a new scenario, so I might want to give it a name. I'm going to do Lake House Rental. And I'm going to add a scene. So I click on My Scenes, and I've actually uploaded some videos. So I'm going to do that. Actually, it's in my download file. I uploaded videos, but it's my downloads. So I'm going to find, first of all, the main room. So I want to look for that. And here's the main room. So I click on that and I open. And now I have that scene. So I'm going to say main room of my scene. And the category in this case, maybe we'll just make it travel. And then you hit create scenario, and that brings in that particular scene. So we've already have the 360 virtual reality scene. So if you look here in preview, actually I'm in edit mode. I can move around and edit. Here is the scene that we saw before, but it doesn't have anything in it. So in order to add something, you just click on add object, very simple. And it gives me a whole list of objects. And the object I want to add is an info card. And I'm going to say welcome info card. And I'm going to say something like welcome to the Lake House Rental. And I'm going to say down here, see if you can find Bigfoot lurking about. And that's it. It's going to be visible when you first come in. I hit done, and there's my first item. So now I want to maybe add a question. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add an object, and the object here is going to be add question. So very simple question. I'm going to make it the sunrise question, and I want some text, and I'm going to just simply say, where does the sun rise? And the choices are going to be east, west, and maybe I'll add one more, and I'll make it north. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the correct one, which is east, and then I'm going to hit done. So now I have this question card. I'm going to put the question card here. Now notice what will happen. When I first come in, there's my rental house. Okay, that's great. And there's my question, but I don't want the question to be seen right away. So I'm going to go back into the edit mode. I'm going to find my question. I'm going to double click on that. I'm going to make it not visible. So I'm done. But the problem is, how do I make it visible? So now when I put it into preview mode, I can see my welcome. But if I come over here, oh, it popped me out of that mode. So be careful. I want to be in preview, and I come over here and it's not there. So how do I make it visible? Well, I'm going to go back into edit, and in order to make that visible, I'm going to make a hotspot. So I'm going to move this up a little bit, and I'm going to add again, and I'm going to add a hotspot, and I'm going to go to the media library, and the media library has a bunch of different items. I'm going to go to actions, and I'm going to choose a question mark if I can find it. Ah, there it is. So I'll double click on question mark. And now it says, I want it visible. Do I want it to be transparent? Now I want it to be visible. I have it. I click done, and there's my item. So I'm going to then put this over the image here, over the fireplace. I'm going to shrink it a little bit, but now I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do what's called an action. So I'm going to click on actions. I'm going to choose an action, and there's a bunch of actions, but I want to show something. I'm going to show the question. So I click on show, and then the object I want is the sunrise question, and I want to show that maybe for 30 seconds. If I hit back to properties, I'm all done, and let's see what happens if I go into preview mode. I come over here, there's my question mark, I click on it, and my question appears. Now I can answer the question, but I get no feedback. So let's go ahead and add that. So I'm going to go back into my edit mode, and I'm going to put in an info card if you have the wrong answer. So again, add object. I'm going to go to info card. I'm going to call this wrong answer. I'm going to say, sorry, the sun rises in the east as it does everywhere. And that's going to be not visible. And I hit done. So now I have this card, sorry, the sun rises in the east as it does everywhere, but now I want another card for the right answer. So I'm going to go to add info card. I'm going to call this right answer. I'm not going to have that visible, and I'm going to say, yes, the sun rises in the east. Okay, awesome. I'm going to hit done. Here we go. So now how do I make those two appear? Well, I've got to go to my question and make it appear there. So I'm going to edit my question. If you can't find something on here, you simply look on here in the main screen, you look to the left, there's my sunrise question. I can edit it, I click on edit, and here are my answers, and here's my action. So upon this action, I'm going to show, and this one was the right answer, so I'm going to show right answer, back to question. And then for the wrong answers, I'm going to do show, and I'm going to show the wrong answer. Maybe I'll show that for 10 seconds. And then I'll do that again. So this gives me the ability to have objects appear when I want them to appear. And then I go back to question. And then I'm done. So now I have this. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So I click on my preview mode, welcome to the rental house. I click here, I click east. Yes, the sun rises in the east. So we've got that. So now I might want to do the wrong answer. So I'll click on that, click on west, and notice the sun rises in the east as it does everywhere. Sorry. So that gives me the ability to look at those questions. So now I've got my welcome, and I've got my question, I've got my info cards that give me the right and wrong answer. Now I want to deal with Bigfoot. Now, to make Bigfoot happen, we need to do two things. First, we need to add Bigfoot. So I'm going to add an image, and I'm going to I already have Bigfoot in here, so I'm just going to click there. There's my Bigfoot. I'm going to make Bigfoot not visible because we don't want to see Bigfoot. We'll move Bigfoot here, not right away anyway. So if I click on this and I move around, you can see I don't see Bigfoot. Okay, that's perfect. So now let's move back around, and I want big to be a little bit smaller so you can resize this. So this is nice that you can add 2D objects. Now I need to add a hotspot. So I'm going to click on add hotspot, and I don't want the hotspot to be visible. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want it to be transparent. Right? I want it. So now I'm going to add a hotspot. So I'm going to click on the add a hotspot. And I'm going to take the hotspot, and I want it to be transparent. I want you to be able to see through the hotspot. I'm first going to name it Big Hotspot. It's always a good idea to name. Okay, and then I'm going to make it transparent so you can see right through that hotspot. And I'm going to make an action, and the action is going to be to show, and of course I'm going to show big. I'm going to show big for 5 seconds. I hit back to properties. I hit done. Now let's see what happens in the preview. Make sure that you move this to the right place where you want it, or else you're not going to be able to see it. Or you're going to be clicking around and not being able to find it. So I come here, I move them around. Notice my cursor changes. I click, and there's big. So I've discovered Bigfoot. I've created Bigfoot. Now, the last thing we want to do is create 2 scenes. So we want to go out on the porch and take a look. Now, to do that, you can click Add Object, and you can add a scene. Now, I actually already uploaded my scene. So if we come here, we can see all of my scenes. If you haven't uploaded it, just click Import, and you can import your scene. But here, I want the porch. So I'm going to click on the porch. And now it's importing the porch. So now I'm going to have another scene. My second scene is going to be the porch. So I'm done. I've added that scene. But how do I get to the porch? I don't know. So the way that we get to that, I need to go back to my other scene, and I need to add something that goes to the porch. Add, of course, a hotspot. So I click on hotspot, and I'm going to go to the media library, and I am going to, with my actions, pick an up arrow. And then I'm going to click done. and there's my arrow, and I'm going to shrink that, and then I'm going to click on that again. I'm going to go to actions, and the action is going to be a link to a scene. And what scene am I going to link to? I'm going to link to the porch. And then I'm going to click back to properties and done. And now when I go into my area, I click here, I go to my porch, and I can look all around the porch. The problem is I can't get out of the porch. So in order to get out of the porch, same process. Click add a hotspot. I'm going to add to my media library. I'm going to click the up arrow. And then I'm going to just do action right now. I don't need to do 2 steps. Link. I'm going to link to the main room. I'm going to click back to properties. I'm going to click done. And there's my arrow. I'm going to move my arrow a little bit. This green thing allows me to move the direction of my arrow. Click here. And now as I walk around, oh, there we are. Click on that. Go back to the main room. And that's it. That's CenarioVR. That's adding a question, adding feedback, having a hidden item, adding an info card, all of that good stuff. The only thing we haven't done yet, oh, let me add it there, if you wanted to, was add an object. So that's really simple. Again, click on add object. I'm going to add a 3D model, and I'm going to go to the media library, and I want to go to 3D models, and I want to go to food. There's all kinds of things. I like food. I'm going to go to my banana, and I am importing my banana. I'm going to make it not visible because we'll do a hotspot. There's my banana. I can flip it around. I can shrink it, and I've got all my great stuff with my banana. So there it is. Now, if I want to do a hotspot, again, I would go here, add a hotspot. I'm going to call this banana hotspot. Okay, that's great. I am going to make it transparent, and the action is it's going to be to show the banana. Now, the problem here is I did not make the banana invisible, so I'm going to have to go back and do that. So I want the hotspot here, but I need to move that. So I need to click on the banana again, and oh, I did. Oh, wow, I'm ahead of myself. Okay. Let's go back in. Let's go here. I can't see the banana. I click. Whoop! There it is. Okay, so that is CenarioVR. We added a couple invisible hotspots. We added a question. We gave feedback for wrong answers. We imported or included feedback for right answers. We have a welcome message, and we can go in to the porch area, and we can go back to the main room. And that is CenarioVR. Very simple operations, easy to use. You can do much, much more with it, but this will get you started.